Hi guys, Mr. Jaeger here, and welcome back to the IAE Expo, and welcome to day 9 of the IAE Expo, which is Misc, as this random person says, hello and goodbye. So yes, welcome to day number 9, and sadly the last day that we get to play around in the 2951 IAE Expo. Yes, sadly we are here, and sadly, it is time. It is the last day that we can do in the IAE, but that does not mean it's over. We've still got a few days left, so please, if you want to get into this game, go to the link down below, sign yourself up for Star Citizen, and have a good crack around. Because I'm not gonna lie, this game, it has its peaks, it has its troughs, but at the end of the day, it is a fantastic experience, and I very much encourage and hope that you guys will also enjoy it, because the more people enjoy it, the more we get more stuff, the better the quality game is. You know, it's all good. It all goes to a good cause. It feels like a fucking like children in need. Citizens in need. There we go. But anyway, so today we're going to be rolling around with Misc, or if I can ever pronounce their fucking name correctly, Musashi Industrial and Starflight Concern. Oh god, someone's been spotted me. And is glitch running. Oh, desync, how we love you. So we're going to be rolling around in the usual fashion, looking in the main room first, going into the right-hand room second, and then heading to the third room on the left, which is pretty cool. And then once we've done that, we'll be heading over to the underside of the underside into the basement, where there's the holodecks, and hello, sir. And then we will wrap things up for the IAE. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this series. As per usual, every year I do these things, and as per usual, I feel really depressed at the end. But don't worry, guys. I will try in future to make more content for Star Citizen, because this game is. I'm going to try and make a New Year's resolution slightly early, and try and see if I can make this game a bit more of a thing going into 2022. But that's gonna be something that I will attempt to do later on. Anyway, without further ado, let's get started. As we make our way towards the first few ships, we are greeted with the sight of 3 very small vessels. These, of course, are the Razer Series. This is a little racing ship, and its main intention is pretty much, as it says on the tin, racing. It can be utilized in a hit-and-run style attack frame with a couple of size 2 las repeaters underneath the main fuselage, but really, it's not really got a place in combat. It's nice looking. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of these I kind of prefer my ships to have some kind of wing on them, and not just an extension of the spoiler, which this particular ship has. I prefer things like the Kruger with its own little wingspan, or even the Origin M50. I'll go as far as to say, and that's a surprise, as you believe me. But still, it is nonetheless impressive to look at, and to be fair, there is actually quite a big demand. I say demand. There is quite I would say, significant scene of Star Citizen players who enjoy flying these ships in a kind of... Oh, hello, I think I can almost get in. Yes! There are a fair amount of Star Citizen players who take these things for a spin, and not only do they... fly these things in sort of a luxury. They do what I think, what I've said before, which is like the skim stunting. I can't really find the right words to describe it, but basically they fly their vessels very low to the ground, very fast, and they do tricks and twitches and all sorts, and it's fucking impressive. Just absolutely incredible the amount of skills these guys possess. As you can see, it's a fairly basic internal component. I mean, again, the original point of this ship is that it's pretty much, I want to go from A to B as fast as possible, preferably not in a scrap heap. So there you go, the Misc Razer. Very impressive looking racing vessel for all those who want to go fast. So guys, here we are once again on Calliope, and it is freezing cold. Not too dissimilar to how it is right now. Little baby Easter egg there. So we're inside. I keep saying inside. We're on Calliope to showcase the Prospector to the fullest. And as you can see, it looks absolutely incredible. So what exactly is the Prospector? You know, why are we on this planet? Why is this ship so important to you, so that you'd show it to us properly inside for Star Citizen, rather than just, go around it like in the IAE event? Well, because this ship is one of my favorite ships in the Misc fleet, and I would say it's also a very good starting vessel for when it comes to mining, if you're, wanting to get into mining. So the purpose of the Prospector is, as I've been describing up until now, all about mining. It has a size 1 mining laser just underneath there, and it can carry up to 32 SCUs worth of cargo. That's these little bags here, if you're not too sure where it gets stored. Now, if you may have been observant in my previous episodes with the Argo Mole, you'll have noticed a bunch of these underneath that ship. Yep, that's pretty much where they all go to. Eventually in Star Citizen, these will be detachable, and it will allow you to kind of go in, drop the shit off, clunk the next one in, and head out before you can say Bob's your uncle. Even better, to be honest with you, is having a mining operation where you have these things that you can detach right on the scene, so that you can basically go, right, I've got a ship here with like 7 of these, or I've got a ship with like 12 of these, and I can go for like a long ass time. You could probably spend an entire 8-hour day almost just going over a planet trying to mine all of the different resources up, just with these particular things. But obviously that's not a feature yet, but just think of the prospects. You said the name of the ship. I'll shut up now. So anyway, the Prospector, it's a very good ship. One of my favorites in the Misc lineup for a couple of reasons. First of all, it is a mining vessel. I am a big fan of industrial mining mining vessels and all of the other snazzy industrialness sides to it. It also looks pretty dope as well, but that's not one of the other main reasons. We're going to be seeing the other main reason in a second. So, ye enter the ship on the side of the pad. Sadly, there's no special sort of easy way in. It's literally you have to wait for the thing to come down, you step onto the thing, you climb upstairs, and Bob's your uncle. So, here we are inside the Prospector. It's a very simple, very barren kind of internal thing. You've got a bed, you've got very limited supplies of like water and whatever you could use to cook, so I imagine the game intends you to take a packed lunch or something for you to be able to travel the verse. Obviously, usual thing, this also acts as a escape pod should the need arise, though to be fair, this doesn't look like an escape pod. I'm so used to these things being escape pods, I even sounds really dumb. I played this game for years, and like whenever someone would talk about an escape pod, I just thought they were making it up, because I'm like, there's no escape pods, unless you see the ones on the side of some other ships. And it turns out that there's a number of ships where the beds are the escape pods, and I was just like, oh. Anyway, so there is your bed with a very nice looking pillow, actually. That bed looks really comfortable, I'm not gonna lie. Well, I can't lie because, it's in the game. Anyway, I'll shut up. So, going on into the bog, we have a fairly standard Misc shit shower, where you obviously take a shit and have a shower, which is important for some reason. You've got a ginormously bright survival kit. Like, if we turn the power off, this thing just glows with radioactive energy. I'll try and show that before we, fuck it, I'm going to show it now. I'm just going to quickly hop into this. No, we'll get back, we'll show after we've done the description. But yes, apart from that, fairly standard stuff. Anyway, let's go into the main reason why I like this ship. I won't go into technical specifications because, well, it's an overview, not a review. So, yeah. But this right here is why this is one of the main reasons why I love this ship. It has possibly the best, in my opinion, cockpit displays in the game. You've got a beautiful 180-degree traverse with a lovely, I would say, 45 to 50 degree looking down as well. It is vastly open, and it is gorgeous. Oh my god, it's just, I love flying this. Every time I play this game and I fly this ship, I love it. I need to fly this more. I need to do more mining runs with this thing. At the moment, mining runs are a bit of a tricky issue because of, well, some of the rocks you encounter are just too big. But there is a patch coming up soon. Well, I say soon. In a future content patch, which is probably coming early next year, their CIG are planning to implement some kind of device which assists people with the Prospector and size 1 mining lasers to like either make the rock easier to crack, more stable, or allows you to have a much more potent charge. So I'm liking this. It looks pretty cool. I am a big fan. But anyway, so what else is cool about this ship? Well, this ship, okay, well, let's look at some negatives, because obviously I don't want to seem super biased. There is a downside to this ship. First of all, it is only a mining vessel. Despite what the MFD says up there, we do not have missiles on this ship. This is a lie. This is a glitch. The only weapons we have aboard are these things, which I've got the stock edition because I've rented this. So the only thing you have are these little flimsy fart guns, which don't even do that much damage. So, no, this ship is not built for combat. Under any circumstances, you should not go into combat with this thing. It's dumb. But I'm sure some of you will try anyway. No, but the other downside, of course, is that this thing fails the MFD test. That's the only problem I've got. And you can't look up. That's the only real problem as well. The problem. If that's a thing that you don't like, that not being able to look up, then I'm sorry, this ship isn't for you. But it's not the end of the world, because primarily you're looking down and forwards anyway, at least in my experience when it comes to mining. But yes, it is a bit of a bummer if you get ambushed from above. But no, the MFD, it also fails the MFD test. So if you're not too sure what that is, I've mentioned it in previous episodes, but to quickly summarize, if you have to manually look around with your character to interact with the MFDs or to even see them, then it makes it more awkward for flying. So for example, if I had to use all of my MFDs, I would have to intentionally look up, distracting myself from the flying, or stopping my ship, having to stop my ship and actively look up and engage or whatever. This display, while it is good because it allows me to look around and have such incredible views down below, it does mean that I'd have to crane my neck up if I was using track IR. By the way, this game, with this ship, track IR, mwah. But yeah, it's a pain if you don't have track IR, because you have to press the Z button for free look, and then you have to funny ass around touching all of the things. And of course, these little fuckers make life a lot more annoying, which is a shame. But apart from that, this thing is phenomenal. I love it. It's a great mining vessel, and it's a good starting point for anyone getting interested in mining. And it also acts as a great sort of mid-ranger, because you can, if you want to, just roll around with the ROC and the ROC DS and, stick with first-person mining. But if you really want to get into mining, then this ship is definitely for you. Now, of course, if you're going along with a friend a lot, or if you're wanting to be able to crack the big rocks, you're probably wanting to go more towards the Mole, because that vessel can take size 2 mining lasers, which is a significant advantage over the Prospector. Sadly, the Prospector, I fear, will always remain in the realm of I'm never going to quite be a size 2 mining laser, and it's always the ship you work up from. But then again, it is also a ship that, the disadvantages of the Argo is that you need a second person. You can do stuff on your own, but it just makes the process more laborious. Whereas this ship, you can find your stuff, mine it, come back out, no problem at all. But again, it's dependent on your viewpoint. Do you like that? If you're not too fussed about spending longer on a prospect, then obviously the Argo Mole is more of a thing for you. But if if you're a time saver miner, then this ship is definitely a strong contender for you. Anyway, we're going to quickly disable the power just to showcase how fucking bright that survival light is, because it's mental. It is genuinely mental how much that bright that is. Right, so the power's off. We go over to the internals here. Look at the fucking luminosity of that. You can even hear a humming sound. It's like, this is survival. I am Kalatok, the god of survival kits. You will be able to survive for a maximum of 36 to 48 hours. It's even stronger. Is this what happens when you drink your own piss and become Bear Grylls? It's just all survival kits just glow mentally. Oh my god. Good luck trying to get a fucking nightcap with those things in the background. So, as we make our way into the second room, we are greeted with quite a sight indeed, which is, of course, all of the Reliant Series. So, for those who don't know, the Reliant Series are a number of ships with multiple variants designed to either help people start out in Star Citizen, to combat fighters with a bit of a unique and niche taste, and also some more reconnaissance-focused fighters. And then, of course, there's even some freight-running fighters ships in the Reliant series. So we're going to be having a bit of a quick look around these ships before heading heading back over to Calliope to showcase how this ship flies about. I'm going to probably rent the Tanner because that's probably the one I want. That's the most likely we're going to have. which is, of course, you know, fun. But we're going to have a look at all of the different vessels and have a little bit of a quick sneak. We're going to have a look at the left-hand one, which I believe this edition is the Reliant Mako, which is the reporting kind. Reporting slash scientific slash I'm not really armed very well edition. And I'm going to hop into the back of this particular ship just to highlight this particular factor. I don't want to rent it. I want to open the back door. Oh, yeah, this is one of those, like, you have to be a bit further away, or is it just going to be one of those, I'm not going to be selected? I think I'm getting the impression that the ship doesn't want to open its doors, which is a little bit of a shame. But we can have a little peek inside the underside. So, primarily, the unique... Really? Oh, there we go. So the unique thing about this ship is it's got its own little cabin space where the pilot sits. Apologies for the flash. And you've got a kind of reporter station located over here where there's like a bunch of seats. There's a bunch of, like, there's an editorial segment there where you'd be sort of sorting out footage and whatnot. So again, depending on how things go, you would be utilizing this for your sort of main show editing. And fun fact, this was the ship that was filmed with Drax McCreary and his friend Mr. Jimmy. God bless that show. I fucking love what they're doing with it. So this is the Reliant Sen, which once again has more cameras and other stuff. Let me see if I can get into this edition. And it's almost wanting it to be done, but it doesn't look like it wants to be opened, which is really weird. Can I just... Oh. I was really disappointed. I thought for a second I could actually look inside. Oh, there we go. So as you can see, this one has its own little scientific builder and printers and all of that. And this one has also 2 beds inside. But primarily it's for scientific and building purposes, which is kind of cool. I like that. It's not, you know, it's something that's not... It's kind of its own unique sort of style. Admittedly, it probably doesn't have a lot of use at the moment, but come into the future, you will start to see a bit of a difference. So let's have a little bit of a look. We won't look at the Reliant Tanner because we'll be seeing that in the Calliope, but we will be having a look at the Freighter Edition. So let's have a bit of a look. You can actually get in these ones, which is the big one. So as you can see, despite this particular edition being the Freighter, it's still pretty well armed. You've got 4 size 3 repeaters, which almost look like they're on gimbals. If they are on gimbals, then holy shit, you could get some firepower out of this. But as you can see, it be a freighter, and it's not a bad amount, to be fair. I think if we have a look at the actual ship description, it can carry up to 6 SCUs worth of cargo, which, in the grand scheme of things, isn't that large. It does come at the sacrifice of a bed or anything else, so it's not going to be super useful for you. But at the same time, it's not the end of the world. And again, you know, depending on what kind of playstyle you're going to be having, it's either going to be really cool that you're going to have 6 SCUs worth of cargo to get you started, or it's going to be one of those, it just helps me get the cardboard box in. But, you know, we'll see how things fare. So, without further ado, let's have a look at the core Reliant Tanner. Or the Misc Reliant Tanner. So, here we are on lovely Calliope. It's freezing, and this, of course, is the Reliant Tanner. So this ship is very interesting, I won't lie. I have to admit, I've not really played this, I've not really flown this ship much, and previously my main sort of, if I ever was to say thought process, it's just indifference at previous points. But now I'm getting kind of intrigued, I'm not gonna lie. So what exactly is this ship? Well, this is the starter edition / more combat orientated version of the Reliant series. This ship doesn't really have much in terms of cargo, like at all. You get like 1 SCU's worth of cargo, but its armaments are pretty impressive. You've got a couple of size 3 M5A cannons, which is pretty dope. Referencing from the Wikipedia at least. And you've got a couple of size 1 M3A cannons, which is still pretty impressive. I mean, the M series cannon from Bearing is pretty impressive. They're not, you know, these weapons are nothing to smirk at. Oh, look, Microtech. They're not anything to sort of laugh at when it comes to firepower. And you also are presented with a pretty large amount of missiles, or at least from what I can tell. There's probably an internal missile compartment inside as well, which we'll get into in a minute. So, as you can see by the layout of the ship, and as mentioned in the previous, as also mentioned previously, this ship is basically like the B-wing. You take off, you fly around, and you can choose to, you can set the mode to, you can lock S4s in, and you're pretty much set to go into B-wing mode and maximize your firepower. So as you can see here, we have a slightly weird texture glitch in the form of the cargo bay, which is a 1 SCU's worth. You've got 2 seats because you can have a pilot and a co-pilot, though to be fair at the moment I think the co-pilot is just there as a passenger. You have your atypical Misc shit shower with a manual release for the shitter, because that is important. Weapon rack, minor sort of storage capacity going into the main cockpit. You have the co-pilot seat to your right and the pilot seat to your left. So let's go have a look. Now, have I activated power, or is it not activated? Nope, power isn't on. So if we hit the power... Oh, it also turns on the engines, I would seem. Yep, engines are on as well. So this ship has similar views in terms of aesthetics. Like it has a very similar MFD system to the Prospector as well, which is good and bad, because obviously the good side is you've got quite a lot of freedom of vision, with the only exception being looking up, which is a little bit worse for this particular ship, because obviously looking up is kind of important in a combat zone. So there is a disadvantage in that. And again, also she fails the MFD test, because obviously the 2 upper MFDs will be not be visible unless you have to physically look up if you're wearing track IR, and of course if you are rolling around, and if you have to if you have to select specific MFDs to copy into. So for example, I would personally prefer to have this mode, turn this off, set this to weapons, and then we can have a look at the missile system. So apparently we've got 20 missiles in, 16 of them are the Strike Force 2s, which are size 2, and there's 16 of them, and then I've got 4 Ignite 2s, which are probably on my wings, and they're infrared proximity det, which is pretty cool. So let's start the ship up and have a bit of a fly around. So we hit the N button, and our ship goes from VTOL into flying mode, and if we wanted to, we could... Yeah, that's just not going to do anything, so we're going to take off a little bit higher so we don't crash into the thing. So as we fly around, looks pretty dope, and you can fly and fight in this particular mode without having to worry too much. I am going to start flying up towards the sky because, So if we switch to missile mode, there should be a bay of some sorts that's just opened up. No? I can't really tell. So we'll assume that there are missiles out there. Missiles up, yeah, Strike Force. Right, so they're ready to go. So I'm assuming there's like a launch bay or something's just opened up, which allows us to use these things. But instead, we're just going to roll around with the las. And obviously, if you want to fire the lasers, or fire the las cannons, there you go. We have the ability. Ah, damn. Which is pretty impressive, nonetheless. And obviously, if this is all capable. This is all like while we're flying on the horizontal mode. If I would press the K button, we now turn into the B-wing. And obviously, the visual flares and the visuals obviously change quite dramatically, because now we have, when we look down, it's more or less unparalleled vision. Looking up, still the problem. Left to right, we've changed the struts. But again, it's pretty cool. But again, you can also go, nope, I want my side visions now. And also you get to see your co-pilot, which is nice. So there is benefits to both sides. But no, this is pretty cool. Like, I like the freedom. I remember flying these years ago, and I didn't have the opportunity to do this. It was either you fly like a B-wing or you don't. And I wasn't exactly fussed about flying like a B-wing all the time. So the fact that we're able to do it now and choose is actually quite a big plus in my opinion. How long it's possible that the ships could have done this, I'm not sure. I've not really flown these ships a lot, so maybe it was just something I could have done in the past, but now I just have only now figured it out. Maybe that's the thing. But regardless, I still think this is pretty fucking cool and is worth mentioning. And also is something that I'm actually going to try, and it's actually something, this ship has intrigued me enough that I'm willing to try something out. But I'll mention that in the future video series or future thing that I might be working up at the back of my mind right now. But anyway, so the Reliant Tanner, it's an interesting ship, and it is one of the starting vessels for Misc. It's got a very different mindset towards starting vessels. I think it's a little bit more, it's obviously more focused in on combat, so you have a better chance of surviving some encounters, but it's cheap, and it's cheap enough that you can at least enjoy, you can still enjoy it if you're new to the Star Citizen game series. So, we are now in the third room, and we are greeted with the sight of the Freelancer. So, for those who've not played Star Citizen, the Freelancer is quite a popular and big ship. You might have already seen this vessel in various trailers, or like gameplay footages and all that jazz. It's quite a distinctive ship. A couple of bit of a fun fact in IRL lore in the Star Citizen case. This ship is probably as old as the Star Citizen game itself, with it being made enterable and sort of fuck-aroundable in the hangars. Quoting from the wiki here, basically it was a hangar available in 2013, and it was available for flight in 2016, in August of 2016. So, yeah, that's pretty freaking cool. I feel old. I was playing and making videos about this game before the Freelancer came out. And you can also see that this particular ship has got a very unique design trait for it. Now, the reason for this is going into the Star Citizen side of lore, is that the Misc, being the company, I'm fairly certain I've mentioned this before, but if I haven't, I apologize. Misc is one of the very few human companies that have struck a deal with the alien race, the Xian, the guys who made the Car2Al. For their technology. So this ship, it has elements of Xian technology inside it, which is actually pretty cool. So this particular, in terms of specs, this ship has 66 CUs worth of cargo, and it has it's also fairly well armed. It's got 4 size 3 M4 cannons. It used to have tarantulas, but since they've reworked the ballistics in this game, it's no longer as applicable. They're accessed via the pilots, via a remote turret, but there is also a fixed turret on the top. Or have they actually redesigned that as well? No, because normally there's a turret at the back, isn't there? Yeah, we're about to see a particular design that yeah. So you've got a turret at the back, which has a couple of size 2 or 3 las repeaters. Actually, I can actually talk to you about the repeaters because I have the wiki up over here. Turrets. It doesn't actually say. That's really not helpful. Just got the freaking wiki all set up, like trying to sound all professional, and it's like, nope. I'm going to go with a limb here and say that those are size 3 las repeaters that are accessible via a particular turret. But we'll get into the elements and designs. In terms of missiles, we've got some size 3 and size 2 missiles. You can assume these are the size 3 and those are the size 2s. So this vessel is fairly well armed. And I even owned one. And for a time, I actually quite enjoyed flying the Misc. It was a very fun, very enjoyable aircraft. But I'd never own one again, though. And we're going to see why in about a second. So let's go explore the wonderful world of why this ship fucking sucks now. So let's have a look. Open the back door. So one of the cool things about a ship with a cargo bay is that you can not only put yourself like actual transferable cargo, boxes and other stuff, you can also use it for more practical reasons, like say driving a vehicle in, or perhaps you know, in the future maybe we could use a cart or something with it, you know, maybe vehicles, but you know, there could possibly be a fairly like tall instrument that you could put in. Well, that would be the case if the fucking ship didn't have a goddamn fucking turret that is completely stupid in its placement. I cannot tell you how fucking irritating this turret is, because literally, so many vehicles could enter this ship if it wasn't for this cunting thing. And I absolutely vehemently hate it. I hate it with all the passion, because this right here is why we can't have nice things. This shitty turret design. And, well, going further into the actual bay, you can see it's quite a spacious little bay, and you could probably get a couple of vehicles in here if you didn't have the fucking turret. Anyway. So, going on through the cargo bay, you're entering into the second cargo bay, which, if you look up, that's where they have the airlock. Now, my question in this particular design is, why not have the airlock in the cargo bay and the gun up at the airlock? Surely, you'd want to have that in a more strategic location, because the thing is, the turret, when you access it, fuck it, we're going to have a look at the turret. Don't know if the ship's going to be... oh, and by the way, this is the fun part, that the back door is often at a point where you have to interact with it, and often you'll click the turret and get into it without really intending to. Right, so this is the benefit of the turret. You can't really look around in it because obviously we have it turned... is it on? Yep, power's on. So the advantages of this turret is very limited. Because you can't look down too much, because obviously it's the back of the ship, and you know it would have so much vastly better field of view and shooting capacity on the upper point if it was like further up the ship. Hell, you could probably turn it around and provide support to your ship, but because Misc put this stupid fucking turret in the back, we don't get that, which is always irritating. Rant over for that thing. So as we move on into the internals, we are presented with all of the little livables, and you know, there's the shit shower, I believe here. Open the door, and there you go. Shit shower means to have a poop and a shower. And then of course you've got the 4 beds, which will turn into escape pods should the shit happen. And then finally you're entering into the main cockpit, which has all of these fancy pants liveries and all that jazz. And we enter into the pilot seat. Now here's the other disadvantage of this ship. Can you see it yet? Can you see it all? Yes, that's right. The cockpit is stupid. It's very big and very long. Like, I get that there's a particular unique trait and design about this, but the fact that you could probably stick your fucking leg on the top and it wouldn't reach the window isn't a very good idea in terms of design. Now, the ship utilizes holographic technology for its displays, so there's the reason why your MFD's in. So in terms of MFDs, it passes the test, more or less. I think there's probably like 1 or 2 things to the side. Let's have a look. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, yeah, so it passes the test. Well, actually, no, tell a lie. It almost passes the test. There is 1 MFD here, which you probably would assume for being power, but it just... Oh, there's another one over here, I think. Yep, there's another one over here as well. So there are MFDs all over the place, and it doesn't quite pass the test, but it's almost there when it comes to that. But the fact that you can't really see too far ahead of you is fucking stupid. It really is. And in terms of visuals, you can look up, which is kind of nice, but that's about it. Looking to the left or right, there's a couple of struts in the way. It's just, in terms of visuals, it's not that impressive, and it doesn't really get too much better from that. So no, I've held it for a long time, and while I was owning it, I enjoyed it. And I you know, when I was, you know, learning the game and learning how to play this stuff, I found it enjoyable and it was kind of cool. But really, after a while, I drifted away from this ship, and I've never looked back since. It is an okay ship, and if you want to have a ship that's relatively cheap that allows you to fly stuff, then get a Drake Buccaneer. Oh, sorry, not Buccaneer, Cutlass. I can't believe I was saying that, but yeah. If you want a ship that you can transport in and drive vehicles into, awkwardly, I will admit, then just get yourself a Cutlass because it's cheaper, and the turret works, and it's not in a stupid location like this one. But there's just my thoughts on it. So what exactly are the point of the other vessels in the thing? Well, let's have a look, shall we? We'll go to my favorite edition of the Freelancer, which still has the fucking stupid turret, but it does have an actual practicable use, and you can kind of drag vehicles into it, because this edition, kind of, it's even more... Okay, no, I'm not going to lie, it's even more aggravating, because you can get a fucking big vehicle into here, but you can't because of the fucking turret. This is the Freelancer Max, and as you can see, they've made a Freelancer dummy thick, and basically allow you to carry up to 120 SCUs worth of cargo. This is a pretty significant amount of SCU, especially since for the price of the vessel, which we're going to quickly hop over to. It's only 150 quid. So yeah, that's not bad. Though I have to admit, with the Argo Raft now in session and it being at like 130, you're only losing about 30-ish SCUs, but you're paying so much less as well. Yeah, it's a bit of a competitor. But if you're getting into the trade, if you're getting into the movable stocks, trading and transportation, this is the ship for you. Much wider, much nicer, and pretty much the same internals as well. Going into here with the horrible stuff, and then basically it kind of goes over to the other side. To be honest with you, I said this is the, if I ever had to own a Freelancer again, that would be it. It's got the same armaments as well. Oops. It's got roughly the same armaments. You've still got the same missiles. It's still got its own, okay, it's got not quite the same weapons on the front, but it's still got the missiles, and it can still be fairly maneuverable. But again, it's a vessel designed more for cargoing, so it's not really meant for combat, but it can hold its own. But speaking on combat, of course, we will have a look at this thing. This, of course, is the Freelancer Misc. And this one has, once again, the M5 las on the front, which actually I kind of like the loadout a bit more. Previously, the Misc had Gatling guns on the front, on its weapon mounts, which is not bad. It was all right. It did the job in that respect. But no, this particular edition is quite famous for being the more militaristically focused and all of that jazz. And we can actually have a look at the weapon variants that it utilized, arms and armament. So obviously, it previously had 2 Gatling guns. I think the material of the wiki hasn't been updated. So now, of course, it's got the M5 lasers. It's also got on its turret, probably not... It does probably have the ballistic repeaters, but we're going to have a quick run around, and we've taken the worst fucking one to run around with. God damn it. Oh, really? Oh, fuck you, game. There we go. So, yeah, we basically got the Panther repeaters again, and this time, however, instead of just the bog standard missiles with like size 3, which are all pretty much nice, you've also got an additional 10 size 3 missiles internally loaded, which we will have a look at. So you can see it's a little bit of a reduced SCU's worth of cargo, but we have fuck tons more missiles to work with, which is a nice thing. Shitty turret placement though. So I'm very much indifferent to the Freelancer Misc, but I won't lie, it's pretty deadly still, and I think it's a ship that you do need to keep your eyes peeled on, because obviously it is a Freelancer with a lot of missiles. If you're not careful, especially now since they've revitalized the missile locking system, you probably could find yourself getting spammed to death by those things. So a word of caution, most definitely. And of course, we cannot forget about the last and the most stupidly named Freelancer ship, and arguably also the most stupid looking Freelancer ship, because this ship is the Freelancer DUR, or as I will pronounce from now on, DUR. The Freelancer DUR is a ship designed for exploration and long-term journeys, as you can see by all the massive fuel tanks on the side and all of the other little gizmos. And for some reason they got attrition lasers on the front, which is pretty impressive. It sacrifices its cargo bay once again, like the Freelancer Misc, but instead of having weapons, it has its own fuel system. Basically, fuel system. It has its own like fuel recycler thing, where basically you can harvest like hydrogen and all of the other sort of elements in space to turn into fuel, which then allows you to go beyond requiring quantum, which is cool. But again, it's a bit more of a niche design, obviously, and it still has the shitty turret placement, though admittedly with the other stuff on the side, it's kind of less problematic, because obviously it's not really designed to transport vehicles. So there you go. But no, the Freelancer is probably the least. I think until we really get some exploration into Star Citizen, I kind of feel sorry for the Freelancer because it doesn't really have any kind of use, and its stupid sounding name probably doesn't help its case very much, especially in my eyes. Whenever I look at that ship and I just see Dar. Now you have left the Freelancer Dar Dar. Even the game takes the piss. For God's sake. God help us if it ever gets into Battlefield. Da 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 da. So I suppose as this is one of the larger ships in the room, we probably should look at this ship before heading downstairs. Oh, they suddenly realized we needed music. So this is the Starfarer, because why not? And this actually is the Gemini edition, which is unique in the sense that it has a couple of slightly better guns and a few missiles on the front. So what exactly is the Starfarer? Well, the Starfarer is the first large ship that I think CIG made, because it was kind of infamous. It's kind of infamous in Star Citizen for being the worst large ship in the game. The concept is fairly simple. It's a refueling ship. It has 8 of these lovely large fuel containers, and the concept is you fly around and you hook up these things to various vessels in a fleet, refueling them, giving them the ability to go vroom vroom. But the problem is this ship was designed back when CIG weren't really experienced with building big ships, so there's a lot of dead space around, and it's not exactly intuitive where you want to go, where and how you get to certain things. For example, you may think that this leads you out to freedom, when in actual fact it leads you to an early grave. Or you kind of think, oh, maybe there's something here, and it's not interactable. So there's a lot of things in this ship that are not really sensical. So in order to get up to this ship, you kind of have to go some. So you head up towards this little second level. I mean, to be fair, it wouldn't be too bad for like combat missions, but it's really not good for doing other stuff. So you go up to the first level, and you can either ignore the ladder, which if you stray too close to it, you will end up climbing it. So if you're walking around the corner, you're like, okay, I'm just going to quickly... Oh, they've stopped it. It's not as grabby anymore. But in previous patches, you would be like here, and your character, as you're walking by, and up... It's literally... Well, there you go. So yeah, that's pretty much what would happen. It's got a lot of fancy pants stuff to it, but it wasn't really that impressive. Again, this is a big ship. There's lots of empty spaces here. And then eventually you would make your way into the bridge, whereupon you have a... the only cool thing about this ship is that it does have access to quite a lot of remote turrets, and you have the captain's chair, which I think this is one of the only ships I've seen in Star Citizen where you have a dedicated captain's chair. You can sort of sit here and just sort of strike the pose and go, make it so, number one, and sound like a smarmy asswipe in the process. But again, for the grand total of a first-time big ship in the game, this is probably it was the first and only style. This was the first and only very large ship of Misc that we have seen. Subsequently, we've only been seeing sort of minor ships and minor ships in the CIG fleet for Misc, but major improvements to large vessels. Like, as much as this ship sucks, we needed it to be built like this, so that ships like the Reclaimer, which is vastly better, and of course the big ship, which is the biggest ship in the game, which is sadly the 890 Jump, would be able to have their interior sorted out as well. You can even access the cargo, but you can even access a little lift here to head upstairs into the crew quarters, but it's a very strange and very odd process. And as you can see, there's like a little racking and everything. It's trying to make the refueling process look cool, and you can kind of go out the back, and yeah, it's all kind of cool like that. There is, of course, some turret accesses, and as you can see up atop, there are means for you to gain access up there, but we won't go up there because it'll take a bit too much time. Time is a factor that unfortunately we will have to focus on. But rest assured, I've already been around this ship once before, so There'll be other episodes for it. And I'll be going further into it in the next, in the Invictus Flight Week as well. And I'm going the wrong way. You see, this is the thing. This is the thing. This ship, you can get lost in. Easily, you can get lost in. And it is irritating, because if you don't go the right way, you can get lost, you can spend forever flying around, and you then die of old age before, fucking goddammit, before you can get off the ship. So, this particular ship is just not quite there, which is a bit of a shame, because I think if you know, again, we needed this ship to happen. As much as it's a shame that this ship probably didn't do as well as it wanted to in terms of design, it was valuable experience to CIG to tell them how not to build a ship, and instead for them to focus on such things as how to build a ship like the Reclaimer, like the 600i, like the 890 jump, and like many other large ships in the future. Can I jump over this? No. God damn it. So, yeah. Useful, but unfortunately, at this moment, vastly badly designed. So, before we wrap up our time with the IAE, let's have a look at the holographics. And the Misc is going to be bringing in some rather awesome ships in the future, and I think once these ships come into the frame, I think Misc is probably going to be a much more bigger place in the verse. The first ship we're going to have a look at is, of course, the recently... Not the ship I'm thinking of, are you? Or are you? No, you... Wait, what? Yeah, no, you are. So this, the ship that I thought you weren't for a second, this is the new ship recently announced, and to be fair, it kind of looks like it's already been half developed at this point. Holy shit. This is the Misc Odyssey. This is going to be the Carrick Chaser, as I'm going to title it as. It's going to be a big, massive exploration vessel, and it's obviously going to be its main purpose and design. Ooh, we have an internal. Someone fucked up in the design department. But no, the concept of this ship is that it's going to be an exploration vessel designed for long-distance journeys, and obviously if you want to set up a colony or set up a base for minor base, whatever, it's going to be able to go into the verse and do its own thing whilst exploring it. And I'm not going to lie, it looks pretty cool. Like, I'm not a huge fan of Misc designs. I think the only ship I really like in the Misc, like actively really like, is the, in terms of right now, is the Prospector. So obviously, this ship being the big old exploration vessel, which was featured in the latest episode of Jax McCreary's IAE event, which I'm genuinely like, huh, it's and he's talking about putting it into fucking Pyro. So does that mean we're going to see this ship as we go into Pyro? Maybe. To be fair, this is very early designs. We saw the sort of concept art for this in the CitizenCon live stream as well, so we'll be seeing hopefully more of this as we go along into the future, probably into the Invictus Flight Week next year, as well as some other stuff, as well as some other things along those lines. So still, pretty impressive stuff. I like the design. It's an intriguing design, I won't lie. It's like the first time I've really looked at this vessel. I kind of like the back more than the front. The front kind of just looks like a traditional Freelancer with a very big thing. It kind of looks like dummy thick on all scales sort of deal. But the further you go to the back with all of his different engines and everything, it kind of looks pretty cool at the back. Like, it looks like a proper good big ship. But yeah, no, this is cool. This is cool. I like this. It's impressive, to say the least. So, going further afield, we're going to have a look at the other ships that are available, one of which will eventually be the biggest and largest ship in the Misc's fleet, is of course the Endeavour. Now this ship is kind of, well, it isn't just kind of, it is really special. So the concept of this ship is it's designed to act as kind of a benchmark platform, but instead of just being this big ass long ship with a load of, you know, scaffolding and other sort of things inside, you instead have the opportunity to attach various modules. You notice on the side of this ship there are loads of what looks to be docking collars and all that jazz. Well, that's because what you can do with this ship is quite a lot. You can either attach research facilities, habitation modules, industrial modules, all sorts of modules onside this ship, and it's designed to basically act like a mothership, flying through whatever sector of the verse you're holding, operating in, and basically operating as a cloud city of sorts, or a I don't really know what to call it, really. A mothership. I think just mothership at this point. And it is a vastly interesting concept. My friend, very good friend, Mr. Nimbus, he actually has this ship, or he also has it on pledge. And the concepts of what you can do, we were all just sort of talking about the kind of research, the kind of hospitals, or ore processing, mining, base setuping, construction, all sorts of things. This ship could do that, and it could be quite the vital vessel inside a war zone, for example. You could have this as a means of communication, or like it could act as a ship which provides healing for the troops on the ground. It could be an operation, a base of operations for a clan in a verse. If, for example, one of these ships were to go bye-bye and explode, that's a vast amount of wealth that's going to be lost in the thing. It's like the equivalent of an Eve Titan, which is pretty big if you think about it. So this endeavor is very cool, and I very much look forward to seeing what this ship can do in the future. It's the largest ship in the Misc fleet, and yeah, I'm not going to lie, this ship very much fascinates me because of what it's capable of doing. And yeah, it's definitely going to be capable of doing a lot. That's for sure. Speaking on capable, we'll have a look at the second before last thing, which I believe both of these are the Hull series, judging from the images, but I'm going to double check. Yeah, this is the Hull series. So anyone who wants to, so if anyone who's never played Star Citizen, or has played it but not for long, the thing that probably makes Misc to be the most unique but also the most common, is that they have what's known as the Hull series. Now the Hull series, which to be fair, they've gone through a bit of a redesign, judging from, oh no, it's not that, no, it's, yeah, no, fair. So basically the Hull series is a cargo transporter, but not quite as the same as, for example, the C2 variant of the Hercules C2 from Aegis. Aegis? Crusader, for fuck's sake, my brain. So, oh, that's the Hull A. GG. Hull most similar to the Aurora or Mustang. Wait, so this will be the basic bitch transporter? Maybe. Yeah, cargo for speed. A is 100% on mission transport. GG. So the concept of the Hull series is it's designed as a kind of scaffolding ship which allows you to transport large amounts of cargo whilst also being able to what's the best? I can't really find the words. It's basically your ship which basically turns into a scaffolding project, and the further down the alphabet you go, the more cargo you can transport. Eventually you can get thousands of SUs worth of cargo, because the scaffolding setup you've got allows you to be able to connect all of these containers. And now these ships are going to become the most common ship in the verse. Like, anybody who's anybody will know this ship as the 18-wheeler, and it will be the most hit by pirates as well, which is going to suck, but it is a very tempting target, and this thing is not very, powerful. It's got a fairly, depending on the fact that it's, which part of space it's in, it's going to be very slow, it's going to be a big target, and everyone's going to be wanting to have some pieces. And depending on which variant you have, this is of course the Alpha variant, which is the smallest. We also then have this variant, which is the C? Is it the C? It is, yeah, the Hull C. So this is going to be the most, often called the most common ship in the currency. This is going to be the most bog standard of the line. And as you can see by all of the containers and all of the little bits of cargo, it's going to be fucking mental. Like, a lot of players in Star Citizen who play via trading would have orgasms at the sight of this vessel and what it could carry. It is ridiculous the amount of cargo this vessel can contain. And just think for a second, this thing is the most common ship in the galaxy. This is the true 18-wheeler. This is the true cargo freight vessel that we see on Earth. This thing will be the most basic bitch, common as fuck, literally like flies around a planet, it will be flying, and it'll have about a few hundred to maybe even 1,000 SCUs worth of cargo. I never really studied too much into it. Of course, this is all, you know, it might adjust depending on like the final release of it, but either way, this ship is going to be everywhere, and the amount of money that you can make off a cargo transfer, my god, it's gonna be ridiculous, to say the least. Like, seriously, my god. But there you go. There it is. There is the whole series. When this ship finally releases into the verse, we are going to see an explosion of cargo hauling. But of course, the thing that you may have noticed in its design is it's fairly not supportable by a planetary atmosphere means. I mean, you could try flying into an atmosphere with all of this cargo with weight, but I don't think you'll be able to get up again or have a ship after the inevitable crashing to the ground kind of process. So yeah, this ship, holy shit. I'm not gonna lie, I'm very much excited to see this ship released. Not because I'm a pirate or because I'm a trader, but because I love the concept of what could happen when the player, you know, the verse, when these kind of ships are seen flying around doing daily jobs. Because I'm fairly certain that if you're ever an enterprising new player, you want to be able to hop into this game and like play with your friends, or if you want to do the kind of cargo-y thing, this vessel is probably going to be the vessel that you'll either work towards, will have been given, or you will have mysteriously found, finger quote, abandoned in the verse. And you can basically turn into probably the big trading hub commander of that particular sector, which I think is pretty cool. But, like with all good things, we must bring this episode and the series to an end. I am very sad to say goodbye to you guys. 2951 was a very good event. I love the aesthetics. I love the gameplay. Well, maybe not all of the gameplay. The frames were a little bit horrible at points, but regardless, I enjoyed walking around all of the ships, talking to you guys about my favorite vessels, and also sharing my passion for this game, which, I won't lie, there are days where it isn't as great and the passion does die, but then it gets reignited into something new, and I always love coming back for more. So that's it for me for this event, but this event is still going on. It's still going on till the 1st of December, so please, 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 or 1st or 2nd of December, please, 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 go check this game out if you really want to play into something that's fun, enjoyable, and of course, at this point in time, free. And then you can sort of get a pledge, which allows you to get into the game. You don't even have to pay that much. You can go straight into this game, and then a lot of these ships that are available, you can get in-game currency. You can rent that ship, for example, for like 48,000 credits, which, you know, sorry, Alpha UEC, which you can get in like an hour of gameplay. You could then mine. You could then get yourself over to a refinery, get the ores refined to a decent yield, get more money, and then eventually you'll be able to buy that ship with in-game currency. We've only recently had a wipe, so don't have to worry too much about that being a factor. And there's so many more other ways for you to play. So I want to take this opportunity to thank you all so very much for watching from the start to the finish. Apologies that not all the episodes have come out on the days of the stuff. I mean, for example, the Drake Interplanetary and the Argo Raft have come out a little bit later than intended. Work has been a bit of an absolute nightmare within preparations of getting ready for Christmas, and of course in my preparations for getting ready to go on holiday. So I hope that you guys have enjoyed regardless, and I hope to catch you in the new year once I've come back from my Christmas break. This is Mr. Jaeger signing out from 2021. Have a good one, guys.